I think the simplest way to frame moving forward for us was just to remain humble and hungry. I think those are two words that are very meaningful coming off an event like we just had. So we have very purposefully and very aggressively moved forward this week with our preparation for Norfolk State. They got a very, very talented football team. They controlled a game last year against an opponent that we struggled significantly with the week before. So I certainly believe we're going to have to play extremely well here this week to continue to build upon our most recent momentum. Their quarterback is an outstanding player, Hankerson, number 7, extremely dynamic, very athletic. He is a threat at any time to pull the ball down and run with it. They have a number of designed runs and a number of things that he does on his own. Also, he's got the ability to distribute the ball to their wide receivers. He reminds me a lot of our own Kevin Johnson. Kevin is a young quarterback in our program that we think's got an extremely bright future. Defensively, they've changed their scheme. They got some new ideas and some new leadership on the defensive side of the ball. So schematically, they look different than they looked a year ago on defense, whereas offensively, I'd say they look more similar. 31, Archie, their Mike Backer, is all over the field, very dynamic player. And number 95, Lee, their defensive tackle, is also a very disruptive player on the inside of that defense. So we need to focus on the things that matter, and that is our preparation. I thought yesterday was not quite up to standards. There's, always a variety of reasons for the results in our practice, but I didn't think our focus was quite as good as it needed to be yesterday, and we're hopeful to be a little more productive out there today. So I'll take any questions here from the media at this time.
Coach, with the 37-20 win, we all knew that Richmond was going to be great, but the way that you guys dominated Richmond in such a fashion, you mentioned that practice kind of was maybe a little off. Does success perhaps make things a little more difficult to get ready for Norfolk State?
I think that that's a very probable thought and evaluation. I think it's always important to go back to your core values, and our core values are to practice hard, to be physical, to be focused and execute at a high level. So just because we executed really well last week does not guarantee that we'll execute really well this week. So, you practice like you play, or you play like you practice. So we need to practice a little bit better here today as we head deeper and deeper into the week.
Is Hampton really the best comparison team-wise for a team that you haven't seen before?
Maybe. Maybe. I've studied the MEAC a lot here of late. Did a little study in the summer, and looking at the wide range of teams and talent in that league. I think the reality is, though, that our game last year with Hampton was the week prior to their playing Hampton. I believe that's a fact, but I know it's real close in the timeline. So that was certainly a game and a score I was tracking a year ago, and I've certainly watched the film. And they did some things in that game better than we did the week before. So those kinds of things get your attention. They're very real when you can look at a common opponent. So for me, that was kind of my starting point as I started to hone in on our preparation here for this week's game.
Hey, Coach, you said in preseason that wide receiver may be your deepest position. You had, I think, 7 wide receivers play against Virginia. Presumably your opinion has not changed. I wonder how that helps Kyle. It helps everything when you have so many options.
Yeah, it's depth is always of great value. It allows you to practice a little differently. It allows you to remain fresher longer, not only during practice, but during the game and throughout the season. We pulled Brian out of the game pretty freely after certain plays that may have been down the field shots that he either got or did not get. So you don't always feel like you have to have the same guys in the game to run your offense. Kyle has developed a rapport and a confidence with all of the receivers, certainly at a different level. So one of the bigger plays in the game was when Kyle hit Brissett down the sideline coming off the goal line. I mean, as a head coach in a game like that, one of the things you fear is punting off your goal line for a lot of different reasons. It could be a very quick momentum swing in a football game, and that not only got us off the goal line, it flipped the field. So their talent. Tyler's back here today, Tyler Wilkins, and he's got some skills and he's gifted. So you can only put so much attention on Brian at this stage of the game, and it's our job to be able to figure out the best way to deploy these guys and then to maximize their efforts, and that's why you have to have a culture on your team that what's team first mentality and what's in the best interest of the team, because the receiver's a position where I can't give everybody the ball as much as they want the ball, but winning should trump everything, and that whole group contributed. Coach Fontel Mines is doing an outstanding job with that wide receiving core, and we want to continue to get better.
A lot about the ground game in the offseason, and that usually applies running the ball. You did that well Saturday. What did you see on film away from the ball in terms of blocking and just other formalities?
Well, I was really impressed. I was excited about, at the game, watching the run game gain confidence and production. And then in watching the film, I was every bit as excited to see our ability to block them, our ability to get movement and push at the point of attack. And then, these backs are kind of just learning, how to run the football at the college level. And they're all very uniquely different. I give Gordon Collins a lot of credit for what he did out there on Saturday. And, my message to Gordon is kind of always the same. Every play does not have to be a touchdown. Just take what they give us and move the change. It's that type of mentality. And Coach Woods is doing a great job with the running backs. I mean, he's got these young guys, on point. And but Deontez Thompson, has some elusiveness to him and some explosion. And then Xavier has got great vision and quickness. He can find the creases in there. And then Jay Palmer's really just learning how to be a running back. He was a high school quarterback. He was a running quarterback. He's a big-bodied, physical kid. So for all the things that you would be pleased about in my shoes here from Saturday, the rushing offense and our rushing defense would probably be at the very top of the list.
Is it sustainable, though, to have 6 different guys carrying the ball each week, or would you like to whittle that number down a little bit?
Well, that's a good question. We really haven't tried to solve this week's game plan. Last week we did exactly what we set out to do. That was exactly what we were going to do. Regardless of outcome, regardless of circumstance, we were going to get all 4 of those guys in the game and give them some carries, and that's exactly how it played out. And Coach Woods took the lead on that throughout the course of the game. So this week we've yet to really strategize that. I think that at this stage of the year, we're still going to want to be able to determine what they do and who does what well. And the best way to do that is to get them in the game and give them opportunities to put it on tape. So we'll probably be more similar than different this week. But later in the week, we'll have a better feel for our substitution package.
Coach, I don't want to suggest this team lacks confidence, but
where you won that game, the way you won that game on Saturday. I mean, what can that do for this group, especially given what you guys did last year and the aspirations that you undoubtedly have a couple months down the
Well,
road?
I think that it validates a little bit that we're capable of playing at a high level and capable of winning a big football game against a really good opponent. And I do think that there is some carryover with that as you move out of that week and into the next week. But what we want to be able to do is to be the same team every week. And I think that's really the biggest challenge in coaching, especially football, because you have so many individuals that contribute during the course of the game. So we talk all the time about being the same guy every day, and we talk about being the same team every week. And I think the more guys that you have that can come into the office, come into the building every day with a workman-like attitude, go to practice with that same kind of attitude, trying to get better, the more likely your team can emulate that as the same team every week. So we're talking a lot about that. We're focusing in on that right now. And I do think that this is a great opportunity for us to continue to build momentum as we get deeper into our season.
Coach, you've gotten Richmond back up to the national championship contention, and the guy you're going up against, Latrell Scott, was part of that national championship coaching staff. Does that add anything more to this matchup? For us, it's another storyline as the media, but the last Richmond head coach is coming back to Robins Stadium.
Yeah, I'm really not tracking that storyline at all right now, and I'm just focusing on things that I think are pertinent to our team, my team being ready to play at a high level. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.